Well, we're here with another video, and talking about these two computers again. It was a couple weeks ago now. I had got these computers, and if you want to hear more about like the models and whatever, and all the specifics of like what I did and why I'm doing the experiment and all that stuff, you can check that out. But the main gist of it is that I wanted to check out chromeOS, macOS, and I wanted to see what laptops are like that weren't made by HP, which is, my usual go-to. So we've got this Chromebook. It's a Lenovo 300E second gen MediaTek one, not to be confused with the not MediaTek one, meaning that it has like a MediaTek processor and stuff in it, I think is the difference, versus other ones I think have Intel. And this came out in 2019, so it's about 4 years old. And then this is the early 2015 11-inch MacBook Air, both 11-inch screens. I got I guess we'll just start there. The 13 or 11-inch screen with like a 1366 by 768 is the resolution. Same resolution on both. I do think that this is just my first impressions here. So after using these for a couple of weeks, so I just want to do some compare and contrast on these. On the MacBook, I think it has a little bit better screen, a little bit. It just seems a little bit brighter and more crisp than the Chromebook. The MacBook Air specifically, and the Chromebook one is just, I don't know. I don't think the viewing angles are as good either. Like that, and like that. Like, it probably isn't a huge difference in that regard. Like, oh, if you bend them down, they're like this. If you bend them back, they're like that. I don't know. I just felt like the Chromebook one was a little more dim. If I was off to the side or something, it felt a lot worse. Maybe not a lot worse, but definitely notably worse than the MacBook. So that's that. Screen thing, I guess, is visually a little bit. Also, this one annoyingly has a weird quirk where whenever these are closed, right? Like if you open them up, if the MacBook is shut down, you'll have to actually hit the power button to turn on, which I prefer, whereas the Chromebook, whether it's asleep or totally shut down, whenever you open it, it turns on. That's a little frustrating. And also, annoyingly, the screen starts at like 50% brightness. This is at like 100%. I don't even know what screen brightness this is on right now, but it's the MacBook is haven't really had to tinker with it much since I first turned it on, because it remembers it and saves it, so that's nice. The setup and everything for both of these operating systems is pretty easy, especially considering I already had a Google account and I had an Apple account. Basically, I just signed in with the stuff I already had, but it's not that hard to make those accounts, I don't think, but that is an extra step if you don't already have those. And then, you just log in and set things up. It's pretty easy to find things. I feel like the Chromebook is a little more similar to Windows and like navigating, because you've got the little like start button thing down in the corner down here to find things. Can I tap on that? This is a touch screen, which this is not. So if you want a touch screen, there's that aspect of it. So they're, getting programs and things. The Chromebook is kind of limited to, basically you have the Google Play Store that you can use, which for some reason had a weird thing where I first went to the Google Play Store. This is not my main Google account. This was like a side one that I had for other things, and I decided to use that because I wasn't sure I wanted to be married to that, and I didn't want to tie my card to it, so I bought a Google Play Store card, and they, just on Amazon, a digital code, and I put the code in, and it didn't say that it didn't say that it was like expired or invalid or somebody else had already redeemed it. It just didn't work. They were like, we need more information on you. So I filled out the form they wanted with more information on me, as if Google doesn't already have a shitload of information on me. Because I couldn't download anything without having some kind of payment method in there. They didn't accept it, so I don't have my $25, But it did let me start downloading things after that, so that's good. The downside is that I've tried to appeal that a couple of times. I've sent them information a couple of times. I've got no response other than, we've already got a thing about this, so don't bug us anymore. And they just have absconded with my $25. So very cool. Google, very cool of you. You know how you also own YouTube that we're on right now? Can I just have my $25? I just wanted to buy a couple of things, but so I couldn't buy anything off of the app, the Google Play Store, but I could download some stuff for free, so that was fine. I also could download things off of, like, for the internet, you really can't get, like, programs there that way. You can only get browser, like, web-based things, or you can, there are a few things you can kind of, like, there's also Chrome extensions, and there's a few things you can install from Chrome, but basically it just makes it so you can use them offline sometimes. So some Android apps and some of the Chrome sites and extensions things can be used offline to some extent, but for the most part you kind of need to be online to use this, which was a pain in the ass when my internet went out. It was very spotty for a little while, so I really couldn't do a whole lot on this when it did that, so that was fun. Whereas the MacBook, you could go to the App Store, you can just go online and download things. Obviously, compatibility is an issue here more so than on here, but things that you can download on here tend to work pretty well. It worked just fine. A lot of the programs between these two, honestly, you can find comparable things pretty easily because everybody wants certain projects, like some things, like, there's like Paintbrush on Mac. I downloaded that to be like my MS Paint substitute. Here's just a quick look at Paintbrush. Just so you have an idea of like how this kind of looks. A little more basic. This has many options. You got this. You got like spray paint. I've been told this is like there's multiple different ways to pick colors here, but I've been told this is just like a Mac version of how to do it. It's like, oh, I want magenta spray paint. Whoa. And I don't know if I can change. Oh, and like the size like that, Oh, wow, look at that. You can see that on the screen, actually. So maybe it's brightness too bright. There you go. I don't know. We'll see in post. Maybe this looks any certain way. But, oh, let's do this. Green. Oh, look at that, huh? Amazing. And please. Here. This is so good. And you're like, oh, that's too small. I want the size to be bigger. Okay. Oh, whoops. It's just. Oh, I have a scroll wheel, so scroll. Huh? Place. Okay, whatever. So, like, it's not, you take a little getting used to. It's not like it's, anything amazing. Actually, what does this bomb even do? Is this like a thing you can place and it just makes. Oh, it does erase everything. Okay. But that's, basically, it's a lot like paint. You got these different ways of picking colors. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah. That's just wanted a quick show that, I guess, because it's a thing you can do with you can still get paint for free. You can still find that. So it's basically that, something to look at. I hope that was oh, I should put this up when I saw that flashing thing is. It's my light. And on Chromebook I don't remember what the fuck did I get. Sketch.io is what it was, I think. Sketchpad. Alright, I thought I'd just record a quick example of dinking around here in Sketchpad. You change like, oh, I want to do a, like, you do weird stuff in this. Like, oh, let's do, sure, let's do tile brush. And, change this to that. Okay. Oh. You know, nothing amazing, nothing crazy. Or anything. You know, these options of, like, you know, different things you can do. Okay, let's do that. You know, weird stuff. Let's do that. And like, oh yeah, shape. Let's just make it a, that's the weird stuff. Let's make a ring that look like that. It's like, oh, here's a ring. Here's a ring. You can, like, move it around. You can, I guess not the best to show. You can, like, rotate it. Ring doesn't really exemplify that, but you get the idea. So you got some pretty basic stuff. I think with this place, oh, you can right click it. That's kind of neat. I didn't even know that, you know, and I didn't realize they had clip art. I didn't even look at the clip art they had. Oh yeah, it's just, oh, I made a cow. Whoa. Goofy. And then, you know, oh, there's fill. And you do, like, text. Oh. Great. Text. So, yeah, this is pretty basic, but I just want a quick show. This is what you're doing. And you can, like, save it. If you export the things, you know, there's some stuff. This is just a free thing. You can go, it's Sketchpad. Oh, it says right up here, the thing, Sketchpad. Oh, that says that, but you can go to the site and get it. I just wanted a quick show, an idea of what we're looking at here when you look at Sketchpad. It's not that different from something like Paint or something very basic, stripped down stuff, but this is a video, so I thought it would be good to show a couple of things. Might be more interesting than just, like, you know, more interesting than just being like, I made it and that's it, and don't worry about it, you know. Why is that color? What's happening? Yeah. Wait, did that go? That's weird. I don't know what that is. But, okay. You get the idea. It's Sketchpad, I think it's a .io. I got a VLC player on both. It doesn't work as well on here. For some reason I have to keep verifying it every time, so that's weird. Oh shit, what did they hit? Is that volume? That's fine. So that's, like, I don't know, like, downloading stuff was pretty simple on both. It's just that, like, Mac has more things you can get. So while there's less compatibility than Windows, things you can get on, you can still get things easier. They work better. Whereas the Chromebook, you're kind of limited in what you can get. And also, older Chromebooks don't have the access to those apps from the you know, the Android app. So depending on your Chromebook, you may be even more limited. It really depends. But I feel like they're moving generally forward to having that support as they get more powerful and things. And again, this is like 4 years old. This is like 8 years old. But they're still pretty similarly spec'd in a lot of ways. They both have, you know, 4 gigs of RAM, and they've got integrated graphics. Though MacBook has 128 gigs of storage, and Chromebook has 64 gigs of storage. So you can't put a lot on here, but peripherals and things, like, I mean, they both worked with headphones, microphone, flash drives. I had some issues with my flash drive on here. We'll get to that. But they both work. Also, you get some neat integration on the MacBook. where you can, if you have an iPhone, as I do, you can sync things with your iCloud account, so that's kind of handy to have. I was able to take advantage of that, finally. That was cool. You can do that with your phone on the Chromebook, but you need an Android phone, which is I don't have, so I couldn't do. But if you have one, maybe it is just as easy to do certain things. Well, yes, they both have this Chromebook. You have Google Docs as one of the Google offerings here, and on MacBook, I used Pages, which is something you can use on your phone too. So I have used it between both. I wrote a review on this, and I wrote some notes and stuff on this. And for the keyboards, I actually think they're both good keyboards. And I kind of like the texture and finish on the. I'm not touching stuff, am I? I should look on the preview. The one time I should look at it. On these keys, it feels really nice. That finish on them, and they have some pretty good action. I think these feel a little nicer to hit, just to press, than the MacBook keyboard. But I don't know if you can even. I'm gonna be able to show this because I have gigantic lights on the scene. But the MacBook keyboard, while smoother, these keys are backlit. So this is something that hey, everybody, all laptop makers, make your keys backlit. I know that. For some reason, they think only gamers want that, but everybody likes to be able to see their keyboard in the dark. It's actually incredibly frustrating, especially with the dimmer screen on this. That, it's hard to see the keys sometimes, whereas on here, it's a little bit easier to see those keys. Yeah, I mean, you adjust a little bit to them. The trackpads are fine; they're about the same. They're not, other than you can see finger grease on this one a lot more than on the MacBook one. These charging things are like ports and stuff to bring up that quick. Yeah, this is a USB-C thing on the side here for the charging port. It's got two USB Type A ports. I think they're 3.0. I think they are on here as well. Two of those. There's also a Thunderbolt port. Actually, there's only one USB port. No, there's two. There's a Thunderbolt 2 port, which doesn't do me any good because I don't have anything that's compatible with that. But I think that's mostly for displays, anyways. The MagSafe thing is cool because if it yoinks out on you, you won't move, it won't tear. I'm kind of yoink it actually. I was like, oh man, I yoinked it. It won't go anywhere. It'll yoink out of your system before it pulls your thing somewhere or wrecks the port. Whereas this is kind of in here. Though this in here a little loose, so this probably would come right out. But yeah. So I think this is auto sleep, so I want to keep that awake. Which is the thing. For settings, that's another thing I want to bring up quick too. As far as settings on these things that are basically, I feel like they're both a little weird with settings in that you have more freedom on a Mac than you do on the Chromebook. The MacBook allowed me to download a lot more things and do a lot more stuff with it. Whereas on the Chromebook, I feel like it was fighting me a lot of the time because it wants to be simple and other things are buried in, you can't do it on here, or you need to be in developer mode to do it, or it's just really hard to get to things. This wants to be simple, and if you want to do more with it than something simple, anything complex is kind of a struggle on the Chromebook. Whereas on the MacBook, it's more about compatibility and security, permissions, and things that keep cropping up. So there's more options, there's more freedom, but you gotta be more particular in what you get here and how you do it. Whereas here, it's good if you want it to be simple, and it's a pain in the ass if you want it to be more complex, and this, which is also sort of the point. The headphone jacks, they both have headphone jacks, and I don't know, they're fine. They work. The one on here is a little loose. I don't know if the Chromebook is just, the jack is just weird like that, or if it's maybe broken, and that was one of the things they overlooked in refurbishing it. I don't know. But yeah, those are the main things I think for just overall stuff, and otherwise also this thing is really super thin and light, and I like that. It does get awfully hot because even sitting here doing nothing and just charging, I can feel it getting warm. So this thing will get very hot in your lap if you're using it. You definitely don't want to use it on something too soft of a surface. This table might even be too soft, but it does have the glowy logo, so that's cool. That's very eye-catching, and I do like that. Whereas this it hasn't run as hot. I don't think I'm going to feel it right now. Is this running warmer anywhere? Not really. This one doesn't run as hot because it basically can't. It doesn't have anything to run that hot. This is also using an Intel i5 in here, whatever fucking generation this was in 2015, but it's running one of those. I think it's probably just generally more powerful than this. There's a couple other things I want to show for that as well, but I think I have some video clips for those, so we'll probably have to cut in some of the video clips like recorded while messing around. But one of the big things basically is gaming, and essentially just to bring up quick, I mean, I do mention this probably a bit in the clip, so sorry if I repeat myself from when I recorded those. This is a little bit later from it was a whole process testing these, but basically I got Steam on here. It works. A lot of games just aren't that compatible with it though, so you're really going to cut down your Steam library. And controller support was a nightmare. Barely anything would recognize the controller. So that was a little weird. I could probably get App Store games, but I didn't even bother. So maybe there's some there that will work fine. I just didn't do it. I got Steam on here. I filtered for games that would work with this. I'm in big picture mode and stuff and trying to get all this to work and everything just to try and get a controller to work. But I've had a hell of a time. I've got, all this shit here, right? So my first thing was like, I'm just going to try this Xbox controller. It's a wired one, so I just plug it in and it should go. Nothing happened, so that's out. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe it's, it doesn't like, an Xbox one. I tried plugging in this Switch face-off controller, this wired thing, and it at least recognized something, and I gave it access to do stuff, and then this didn't do anything. I pressed a bunch of buttons. It did change the volume for some reason once, and then did nothing else no matter what I hit, so it doesn't really work either. And then I tried the PlayStation 3 Afterglow controller that has like a wireless receiver thing down there that I plugged in, and the lights went on, but the computer doesn't seem to care that it's a thing at all, so that didn't work. Then I tried the Xbox 360 controller because I heard, this is an Afterglow wired one. I've heard that the wired ones will work. I've heard that maybe connecting that way would do something, but I don't know if it's just because it's an Afterglow one, not an official one, or what. This did not really work either. It lit up for a second and then did nothing, and this usually works on everything. So now I'm using this Xbox One controller I got with my One S. It doesn't work in wired mode, but I have it plugged in so the battery will work. I did get this to work in the big picture mode thing, but it doesn't seem to work for this. Pressing whatever here, it's not doing jack shit with any goddamn button once I'm in the game for some reason. Which is frustrating because the Bluetooth part connected. I gave it permissions. I'm doing everything everyone says online to do, and some people are saying it works for them. Some people are saying it didn't, and let's just leave. And I can do it now. It'll control it now. But just not in the game. So I don't know. This is just I wanted to do a quick bitch because I just used 5 fucking controllers, and the only one that sort of works doesn't seem to work in the game. So I'm starting to believe when they're saying these aren't really gaming machines. I am gonna try maybe one other controller or something, and then I'm gonna probably try playing stuff just with the keyboard and mouse controls, because even though I hate that, if I can at least do it, I can see how this performs at the very least. But yeah, very annoyed with that right now, so I thought I would document that while I'm still freshly pissed off at almost 3 in the morning at this. Basically, I just want to show I've had a small bit of progress here. 582 games on Steam. If I do the filter for Mac, we're down to 69. So not a lot of things to do here. I've tried like 5 different games here now. So yeah, Murder Miners works just fine. Rogue Legacy, I got the controller to work for that for some reason. It was just fine. It was laggy in the skill tree thing, maybe it's because there's some 3D stuff there, but like the actual gameplay stuff, or main gameplay, butter smooth. And Shovel Knight, gameplay was totally fine, but couldn't get the controller to do anything. Turok 2, once I enabled some stuff in the settings for the controllers or whatever, on this general Steam settings for Xbox controllers and Steam input and generic controllers and stuff, then it let me play that one with my Xbox One S controller. Ukulele, still couldn't get the controller to work, but I wanted to show a bit of that performance. And this one sort of impressed me and sort of doesn't, because this is like it's not a super like graphics intensive game, but it is 3D stuff, and it's like more than maybe some other things would be. Like, this is gotta remember, this is like a 2015 laptop with integrated graphics. It's like Intel HD 6000 graphics, so it's not going to do a lot of graphical stuff like a powerhouse, but I was able to get this to look okay and run okay. By running the display like this, I have okay visuals on it and okay performance on it. Alright, let's time it to see how long it takes to load this time. It might not be as long, but we'll see. And oops. I'll even be generous and accidentally stopped it for a sec. So it takes about 2.5 minutes for it to load this level. So I want to get over to this place over here where you can actually see stuff. Like, this is still like better than my last laptop, where I had to have it like, which was from 2019. This thing barely moved if I had it look even this good. So like, even though the graphics are really low and it's pretty like fuzzy in places, like, it's not chugging real hard for, you know, for the comparison's sake, for something from 2015 with integrated graphics. So this is probably a small cut above my other laptop, I guess, in that regard. But Also, the other thing I want to bring up too is that before I had the this thing in there with the fan noise going. Right now, the fan noise you're hearing is just the system, because it only has like the hinge part. I'm not looking at my fucking display. It has this hinge part here, is where the air comes out. There's not like vents like on the back or anything. If I can readjust this. Where's my adjusty ring? So like, there's no vents back here. It's all just in the hinge. Oops, that way. But yeah, it's it gets hot, it gets a little loud, but it performs surprisingly well. I just wish my goddamn controllers would work with most things, really. On the Chromebook, I tried a little harder to make it work because I just wanted it to do something notable, whereas like at least this could play some Steam games. If you could use keyboard and mouse, you'd still have like more than nothing. But here, again, this is one where power actually isn't as much of an issue, just because it's harder. The things that can run don't require as much. You can get some games from the Google Play Store and run those, but those are like Android games. Again, space is a big issue, because 64 gigs plus the like 10 that are like required for system stuff. You're not working with a lot of space. You can't use this really as a big gaming machine. And also it's basically you have that and you have browser games. So I tried a bit of both of those, because to get Steam, like I said, you need to have a newer Chromebook to download that, or you need to go into developer mode, which is basically running Linux, and that's going to be above my head. That's a whole other can of worms that I don't know if I will ever be ready to do. So this is just a quick little thing to talk about a bit of my experience here of some of the gaming on here on the Chromebook. And this was the first thing I just got to see, like, how's a first-person shooter going to work. I did get my Xbox One S controller to work with this. So let's see if it still does, I guess. I just downloaded this because like, I'll see how a first-person shooter works, on this. And it at least when I was testing before, it worked fine. So let's see if we can get into a match. Hello, is it working? Okay, it's not the smoothest. And this game is just kind of a quick, like, you run around, you kill people. At least when I was playing before, I like switched guns. Arms race. This is probably the same mode I got before. I think the modes change.
Too easy.
Alright.
Go, go, go.
Okay, then you just go around here, and like, it doesn't look amazing. Ooh, that's laggy. Oh. But like, you can see that it works. Although it does continuously pull in a direction when I do that. Dang, I got him. I switch my gun. Oops. Did not count because I died. Oh. Anyways, I should probably talk more, huh? Basically what's going on with this, though, yeah, you switch guns. Do that, and like this thing, like it's pulling to a direction sometimes. I don't know why that is. It's not like completely not laggy, it's not like it's amazing, but it works, and that's pretty impressive for the specs on this thing. However, I couldn't get tons of stuff to work on here. Some of the stuff, you need certain accounts to do, or syncing things to get them to work, and there's only so much space. Like, I was going to play Genshin Impact, and that thing requires, right now, more space than I have currently. So I didn't really have the space for it. The other stuff I got worked fine. Like, the thing on I wrote down on my phone, pictures of it. So from the Play Store, I got, I tried Blockcraft 3D, which is like a Minecraft clone, and then I tried Geometry Dash World, which is like kind of like a beat platformer rhythm thing, and I did like Solitaire, I guess, and like that was fine, and Pac-Man, that was fine, and yeah, basically Those are fine. I also did a browser version of Doom, just try out a browser game, and that worked fine too. So I don't know, like it works, but not everything works with the controller. A lot of things want you to use the screen as like a touch screen to do stuff, you know. Which it works for that, I guess. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say here, and I'm not good at gaming and talking at the same time, so I'm not a professional streamer among many other things, is that even though it works, it doesn't work amazingly, and you only have so much space to work with, and only so much power to work with. So the Android apps are going to be better for, you know, performance, and browser games are going to help a lot with performance as well as space. That's really going to help you a lot. So you really can't, you know, if you want to do Steam, you got to either have a fancier Chromebook or you need to fancier Chromebook, or you need to like put it into like developer mode, which is basically running Linux to make it work, and that sounds hard to me, so I didn't do it. So that's good. So that's basically the gaming bits that I recorded about these, because I'm a gamer. I like gaming. I think a lot of people will want to game on these things, and like people say, Macs are not good for gaming, and they're right. So I will say it's probably still a sight better than gaming on a Chromebook, but your results may vary with newer of either of these machines. Obviously, these are very, you know, these are old, these are underpowered, they're cheap. If you pay a little bit more for something a little bit newer, you probably can do a bit more with gaming on them. But if you really want to actually game on something, I would sooner recommend something like a console or a Windows laptop. If anything, at least you'd have more access to things to try more easily to see if they run, whereas your options are so limited on both of these, it's not really a good idea for gaming as your main focus. So yeah, Windows laptop, console, a Steam Deck. There's options that are going to be much better for gaming. Even the things on my Steam Deck, as a side note, more games right when I got it were available, like as great on deck, verified, totally compatible with it. More of those were available than on here. And Mac has been around for how many years? That just gives you an idea of how much of a gaming machine either of these are. Okay. The other thing was video editing. So I tried some video editing on these because I make videos, so I kind of like the idea of messing around with some editors to see how good they are, I guess, for my needs. I'm obviously not a professional. I don't do a whole lot of editing, as you'll see in the video. There's probably more things I could have done to edit and make it look better and do really simple things that most people who do editing for a living would be like, you should have done that. Also, some people will be like, why didn't you frame it better so your whole head's in the shot? And I didn't see till I was over here that it was that far out of the frame, and it's too late now because I recorded how many minutes, and I will be shit fucked if I'm going to redo it now. So I first started doing stuff on my Chromebook, and basically I tried out Clipchamp first. And the idea was I was going to record stuff with the built-in webcam and microphone on there. There's a clip of that in there. I also included a picture drawn in that Sketchpad, so I could show that off a little bit. And then I wanted to use some of the built-in stuff with it. I used Clipchamp because I know it. I knew it was free. I knew it was web-based, so I could do that and use that to edit it. So I was at least somewhat familiar with it and know that it kind of works and how to use it. And I also pulled in a 1080p 60 frames per second video from my other camcorder, as well as a high resolution image that I took on this camera to see if I can insert those, and I took an MP3 file of my music to put in there as well. So these are all things I wanted to incorporate into this project, and the result is this. Alright, so this is just a bit of a test, I guess. I'm going to try editing maybe something with this, but this is just the test of the video and the mic quality. I don't know where the mic actually is on this thing, if it's lower or if it's higher. Oh, I think the mic's probably right up here. Where's my finger? Oh, cool. Um, so this is just a quick look, some of the camera's ability to see things. Oh, look, there's stuff up there too. Yeah. So the camera, the mic, all that, all that good stuff. I think that'll do. We'll we'll stop now. I guess I don't know that you would want to use this, but maybe you would just because it's there. But get a real camera if you want to make videos. I don't know if you can really see this, but this is just a quick outdoor shot. It's probably hard to see because the sun's back here too. But I just wanted to do a quick thing. Yeah. So we can put it in the video to see if this 1080p 60 frames per second thing will go into my editing software stuff. So that's all we're doing. Oh gee, I'm gonna go back inside. Ah, fuck! So that is the video there, and I mean, yes, I know it's not anything amazing. Clipchamp is fine for an editor. It's not amazing, and that's the thing. It's like it works, but it's very slow. Some of that could be down to hardware stuff as well, because it didn't seem quite as slow on my nice computer that I use it on, despite it also being, it's web based. But even so, I think some of it does come down to the power of the innards of your machine. And don't go to sleep on me. I'm just scared about it. Does this? I don't think this will. I don't think it's set not to, but just in case. We'll wiggle. I know I haven't shown anything on the screens really on these, but oops. Anyways, so like, yeah, Clipchamp did fine with all the stuff. The file from my one camcorder is apparently an MTS file, which is weird. So it was like a 40-second clip. It took it about 10 minutes or so to make that work because it had to basically convert it into something it actually understood. But once it did that, then it worked fine. Everything went into the project and it worked. It did crash once during editing and crashed once during exporting. But I didn't lose any progress and it did eventually work. So I was like, well, that works. But my friend was telling me, maybe you should try this Power Director. So I got the Android app of Power Director. They said it did pretty good on their phone. So I was like, well, this should be good enough for doing something like that. And I did more or less the same thing with Power Director. And we ended up with this. Alright, so this is just a bit of a test, I guess. I'm going to try editing maybe something with this, but this is just the test of the video and the mic quality. I don't know where the mic actually is on this thing, if it's lower or if it's higher. Oh, I think the mic's probably right up here. Where's my finger? Oh, cool. So this is just a quick look, some of the camera's ability to see things. Oh, look, there's stuff up there too. Yeah. So the camera, the mic, all that good stuff. I think that'll do. We'll stop now, I guess. I don't know that you would want to use this, but maybe you would just because it's there. But get a real camera if you want to make videos. And that, you'll notice, is not great. Unless it magically fixed when I put it up here, but I doubt it. Basically, yeah, Power Director itself was not too bad to use. I had to use touchscreen stuff on it, which is a little annoying. But I guess it is meant for a phone, that version. They kind of expected that, so I guess it's not that surprising. Um, and the thing is, like, the stuff from Power Director worked fine, but it couldn't recognize the MTS file, so that's why that clip just isn't in there in this version. It also, for some reason, with the built-in webcam stuff, it desynced the audio on that. I don't really know why, but I mean, it didn't crash. So it fared a little better because it was an actual app instead of a web thing. But the result was worse. So again, with the limited amount of space you will have anyways on something like this, unless you're gonna constantly be plugging in, external storage to do anything, I would recommend that you get something different for video editing, or only have very short, simple videos that you're gonna be doing, or edit things and just have them, with the web-based stuff, if you just have it saved on a cloud somewhere, have it uploaded immediately and not taking up space, maybe you could do it. But for actual any like serious content creation, avoid the Chromebook. Now the MacBook, I was a little more excited about because it had iMovie, which also my phone got. I just didn't really want to necessarily edit things on a little phone screen. I still have to play around with some other stuff there, but basically I took advantage of this by also doing basically the same project. I made the title card in Paintbrush, and used the same stuff. I also included, though, stuff from my phone that synced from photos. So I had a few clips there that were like 4K 60 frames per second things. And the result was this. Okay, so this is just a test. I don't even know how this is going to look or sound or end up, but it's actually monitoring my thing as I do it. Is that true? It is. That's probably bad. We'll turn the volume off for that, so we can't hear that. Yeah. Maybe that's why this probably does that. Does that fix that? Do I still hear it coming back? I don't. So that's what that volume thing means. This is for playback. Okay. See, this looks a little crunchy to me, and it's obviously very shaky because I'm shaking this because it's on my lap, but we'll put it in the video. Why not? How do I end you? Seems really quiet actually according to this thing too, so that's probably bad. This is merely video footage to test out iMovie. See if it can handle this amazing 4K 60 frames per second footage. And I'm using my ultra wide angle lens just so you can see stuff. And here's a normal lens, which probably has better color and stuff on it, I think. You just get less in the shot. Hey, it's my computer stuff. But I don't know. It's not like anything crazy. Why don't you look outside? Is it adjusted this on the fly? Not really. I think it looks about the same, which is probably normal. And here's me. Oh my god, has my hair been like this the whole time? Did I just record an entire video where my hair did that? Before doing this? Okay, well that's probably bad, but this is looking really, really smooth on this, so I'm hoping I can make it look at least somewhat as smooth in iMovie. Really, I'm just editing iMovie. This is if anybody sees this, that's why it sucks. That's why it sucks. I don't know if you can really see this, but this is just a quick outdoor shot. It's probably hard to see because the sun's back here too. But I just wanted to do a quick thing. Yeah. So we can put it in the video. See if this 1080p 60 frames per second thing will go into my editing software stuff. So that's all we're doing. Oh gee, I'm gonna go back inside. Ah, fuck! And I think that worked pretty well. I really like iMovie. It was really easy to use. I liked that it was just built in. It was like, I guess I don't know if I had to download it right away or if it was built in. I might have had to download it, but it was still like it's the Apple thing. It works with this. You can even do 4K things. If I had put the 4K clip in first, it would have been in 4K. So that's a weird little annoyance with it, that you have to start with a 4K clip to even do it in 4K. But presumably it would have done it. And this thing does get pretty hot. It does get a little laggy editing that clip. Any of the 4K things, it was like, it didn't really want to show me a preview of it. It was kind of hard to do for that. But I really like, the interface is good. I think it's like simple but powerful. I really like that. So I enjoyed making the thing in there. It handled all the files. And it downscaled because I put the first thing in was an image. It just made it 1080 was the highest I could go, but it still looks pretty good. And there's also like I said, the clip of like the camera and the webcam and the built-in mic and stuff. But basically, that's why this one's a little longer. So I really liked iMovie, and this is probably still good to use. It's also, if you have an iPhone, you're using stuff, it's more compatible to use something like this. So this is definitely viable, and 128 gigs isn't a ton of storage, but I will mention that taking all the stuff off of here, like, it was hard to delete stuff. It just naturally wanted to keep my stuff in there in perpetuity. You actually see the project, like, on my screen, I think, still on the desktop. I haven't deleted it yet because I haven't put it into the video yet because I'm recording this bit. I had some troubles deleting stuff because then I went to delete it, and it's like it wants to keep everything there until you go and delete the project and then delete the event. That's a little finicky, but you could do it. It's fine. It's just a weird amount of steps to do. The other thing, though, is that I had a weird issue where I went to delete stuff and it wouldn't let me delete it because I didn't have permission to. I don't know how, but I couldn't find it in just like the reveal thing that they have in iMovie. Oops. Gee, what do you think I think this is like? But you can go and like, I had to go through a series of menus and whatever, and then I could find where the file actually was hiding, and then go and change the permissions so that I could delete that. So then I could delete the whole thing. That was annoying to have to deal with. Also, I had a weird thing where the thing I was talking about, the flash drive, you have to format it in a way this understands. It does not understand NTFS format, which is what I format everything in. So I had to find a spare flash drive with nothing on it, reformat it as exFAT, and then I could put it onto there, because otherwise I couldn't take it off the machine because it doesn't recognize that. So that's weird. If I wanted to be used on both, I have to have it be exFAT. Not a huge deal, but if you already have things formatted, this is going to be kind of difficult. But something to keep in mind. And then I want to do an audio test. That's also going to have to be another quick clip. I'm just going to probably throw it here, just so you can hear the difference between the built-in speakers on these through my microphone over there. It's probably not going to be amazing, but I do want to do that thing quick, so I'll record that after this, and with the magic of editing, we'll insert that here. Okay, both of these are at about the same spot in the song, and I mean, the title is it's not as bad as you think it is, but I just picked this because I know it has bass in it, and it's not copyrighted because it's mine. It's my copyright. I won't sue me. So these are both at full blast. I think the speakers on both of these are probably in the bottom or something, so I don't know how many these can sound on a fleshy table. But here we go. We'll start with Crhomebook because it's on the left. That makes sense.
It's time to feel the beat, so get up from your seat and start to move your feet. This song is pretty sweet, besides it's not like you've got anything to prove. Just come and start to move to this new catchy groove.
And now, the MacBook.
It's time to feel the beat, so get up from your seat and start to move your feet. This song is pretty sweet, Besides, it's not like you've got anything to prove. Just come and start to move to this new catchy groove.
And based on that, all I'm going to say really is that, essentially neither is great. Okay? You heard it here. Neither one of these is great. I think the Chromebook one is slightly worse just because it's a little clippier. Again, I was at max volume, so maybe if you turn it down, it'll be fine. But the MacBook sounded pretty good. In comparison, it sounded cleaner, less clippy. Neither one has a whole lot of bass. They're a little trebly, like you would expect. Speakers on laptops to be, probably. So again, if you want good musical performance out of the speakers, these particular models, you don't want either one of them, and I assume you'll have to look for probably a particular type of laptop if you want really good speakers in it, which I have seen, but it's not usually a common feature because usually people use headphones. That's it. I mean, like, you have a headphone jack, so you don't really need to have amazing speakers, and they're serviceable enough for when you don't, like, just listening to people talk, or, something on the side that you're not super engrossed in, it's fine. If you're going to do something more serious, listening to music, or watching a movie, or something like that, where audio is a bit more important, just wear headphones. Moral of the story is, wear headphones, dude. So that's a comparison, and honestly, neither of these sound great. They're small. They're meant to be small and portable and affordable, and they're not meant to have amazing speakers. So if you use headphones, it really doesn't matter. If you use good enough headphones, they'll be able to decode audio to the point where you're like, wow, this is a million times better than the speakers. So that's good. They can do that. Yeah, I mean, as far as the bits here, only other things to bring up, I think, as far as my first impressions, I know it's a lot of stuff. I've been rambling for I don't even know how long. It's probably way longer than anyone's actually watching, especially with my head half cut off. But I guess generally speaking on these things, I think the connectivity with my phone is really neat with the MacBook. This is just, it's more powerful, it's nicer. I've used it for video calls. It worked well with in fact, even the Chromebook struggled a bit with just running Discord, the app of it, so that's a little concerning. Whereas the MacBook ran Discord fine. I also, when I was having internet issues and I could barely use my Chromebook because everything needs to be on the freaking internet, I could go on my MacBook and actually turn on the hotspot, and because it's connected to my iCloud, I didn't have to get a weird password or anything. I could just automatically connect to my hotspot when I turned it on my phone. So that was cool, and that was helpful. And just I don't know. Basically, I ended up liking the MacBook a lot better. The OS is fine on the Chromebook. The thing is okay. But you have to realize also these are cheap, and I'm guessing that basically at this point where I'm sitting, we'll see how I turn. After I use these for a bit longer. But right now, I really feel like this thing is just not good enough at doing anything that I want it to do. It would get me by for a little bit, but depending on how long it would take me to get a new computer, I could probably squeak by with a phone where I wouldn't need this. Or actually, something like this is more appealing as a backup. Because really, when I was looking at this, I was thinking, if I get a real Chromebook, a proper one, I could get one as a backup. I don't know if I want one for that, because I don't know if it's going to be worth having something like that just sitting around when I won't use it enough to necessarily justify it. Whereas this, if I get a newer MacBook, I could get one that's, it'll be a lot more powerful, and it'll be a great side piece to have. If I want to, upload stuff directly from my phone, I can put it into here to edit in iMovie. I could use it for, my video calling things really simply, instead of having to move my main laptop every time to do one of those necessarily, and set up a camera and everything because that webcam broke. Both of these still have functioning webcams, even if they're not amazing, though. You saw what they look like. This one is better. But actually, this looks a lot better with proper light and when I was in calls and stuff than I think it did in the video. But still, not bad. yeah, I don't know. Just overall, like, I mean, I do kind of like the chunkiness of this and the rubberiness, and I feel like essentially if you want something for like, for this is meant for like school kids, to have a thing that can access internet learning things. This is, or for people who just basically go on to check some emails and the web, and that's mostly it. This thing did crash just for general use things. It did crash on YouTube once. Weirdly, this thing allows me to play YouTube videos in 4K, but it can't handle it. But at 1080p, it crashed once. Actually, it's a little slow. I usually run them in 720p since the resolution of the screen, it doesn't really get much more than that anyways. Whereas on the MacBook, for some reason, the playback on YouTube caps out at 1080p, but it plays it fine. It's still both of these are kind of slow loading pages and things. They're old. They don't have a ton of RAM. They don't have amazing processors. These things are aging rapidly. But for something that's 8 years old, this sure doesn't feel like it. For something that's 4 years old, I don't know how this manages to feel older than this. I don't know how they managed that. I don't know how they managed to have worse specs than this, but I guess this was still more expensive even now. So, basically at this point, I'm thinking that I probably won't bother with the Chromebook after this. We'll see if my tune changes. And it sounds like I'd rather just have a nicer MacBook of a lower price. Essentially, I'm looking at one of those M1 MacBooks. It would be really cool. Get a relatively... I've been seeing those for like $750 because their newer ones are coming out. So by the time this whole experiment is over, maybe they'll be even cheaper, and I'll just get one of those to replace this. But yeah, so far it's been an interesting experiment. It's been fun, and I don't know. I guess we'll see in about a year. I will give an update on this from using these on and off, as I would. And I'll let you guys know what my final verdict is. There's probably going to be less to show there, less to say, so hopefully that'll be a shorter video. But this is basically the plan right now, is just to do that, do a little bit more testing, a little bit more average using, and see what we think. Yeah. So oh yeah, and if you're using these again, if you're going to use one of these, get a like a little cooling pad for it, or have it on a nice hard surface, because this puppy gets really hot. It does. And if you have one of these, God, I hope you have a newer one than this, a higher spec one than this, because otherwise, if you're doing much more than just emails, YouTube, you're gonna have a rough time. I think that's good. I think it's time that we put a close to this.